How many times have you looked at someone and replied, "I'm fine," when in reality, you were waging a silent battle within yourself? How many times have you smiled so as not to worry anyone, while your heart carried a weight that seemed impossible to explain? And how many tears have you quickly wiped away, hoping that no one would notice the pain hidden behind that smile? Perhaps you're watching this message precisely because you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you're one of those people who has learned to suffer in silence. People who continue helping others, continue working, continue fulfilling their responsibilities, but inside are tired, wounded, and emotionally exhausted. Have you ever been through this? Then stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover may surprise you. There's something many people don't understand about human emotions. They believe that feeling sadness, anxiety, fear, or loneliness is a sign of weakness. Some even think that if they had more faith, they wouldn't feel these emotions. But the Bible shows something completely different. God's word has never ignored human pain. On the contrary, it repeatedly reveals that God knows the heart of every person deeply. He knows what no one else sees. He knows the thoughts you don't share. He knows the worries that steal your sleep at night. And he knows every tear you've shed when no one was around. Perhaps no one noticed what you were going through. Perhaps the people around you only saw your outward appearance. Perhaps they saw your smile, heard your words, and believed that everything was fine. But there's a difference between what people see and what God sees. While the world observes the surface, God sees the depth of the heart. While people judge by appearances, God knows the hidden wounds you carry in silence. And perhaps that's exactly what you needed to hear today. Because often the greatest pain isn't just suffering. The greatest pain is feeling that no one notices your suffering. It's feeling that no one understands what's happening inside you. It's feeling like you're fighting alone. But what if I told you that you were never alone? What if I told you that there was someone present in every difficult moment you faced? Someone who saw that night you cried yourself to sleep. Someone who heard that prayer you couldn't finish. Someone who stayed by your side, even when you felt like everything was falling apart. The truth is, God was never indifferent to your pain. Even when it seemed like heaven was silent. Even when no answers came. Even when you began to question whether your prayers were being heard. God saw everything, every tear, every sigh, every moment of despair, every emotional battle you fought away from the eyes of others. But there is something even deeper that many people have never realized. There's a reason why certain emotions appear at certain times in our lives. There's a reason why God allows us to face some emotional battles. And understanding this can completely change the way you see your own story. Because what you call weakness may not be weakness. What you call defeat may not be defeat. And what you believe to be just pain may be revealing something much greater than you imagine. In the next few minutes, we will understand what the Bible really teaches about these human emotions that we so often try to hide, and why God has never ignored any of them. And while you reflect on this, I'd like to extend a very special invitation. If any of these words describe what you're experiencing today, don't keep it to yourself. Sometimes, the greatest proof that we're not alone comes when we realize that other people are also facing the same struggles, the same fears, and the same silent tears. So, I want you to tell me in the comments, what part of this message has spoken to your heart the most so far? Have you ever gone through times when you needed to hide your pain from everyone around you? Or perhaps you are experiencing exactly that right now. Sharing your experience can be more important than you imagine. Not only for you, but also for someone who might be reading the comments and realizing that they are not the only person facing a silent battle. And if this message resonates with you, if it's helping you see your emotions in the light of God's word, please also like this video. It may seem simple, but each like helps this message reach other people who are going through difficult times and need to hear a word of hope. Often, someone finds exactly the message they needed because another person decided to support the content. And if you want to continue receiving messages like this, messages that combine biblical motivation, spiritual growth, and profound reflections on human emotions in the light of the Bible, consider subscribing to the channel. Here, our mission is to remind you daily that God continues to speak to hearts that are weary, wounded, confused, or simply in need of direction. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people with this type of content. Every comment, every like, and every subscription helps to spread this message to someone who may be facing one of the most difficult phases of their life right now. But there is something even more important that we need to understand. If God truly sees every tear we shed, if He knows every hidden battle within our hearts, then an inevitable question arises. Why do we so often try to hide our emotions? And what does the Bible really teach us about these pains we carry in silence? That is exactly what we're going to talk about now. Now I want to delve even deeper into the subject, because there's a hidden truth that many people go through their entire lives without realizing. Not all pain is visible. Not every battle leaves marks that others can see. Some of the hardest fights happen within the mind, within the heart, behind the scenes of life. And perhaps that's exactly where you're fighting right now. There are people who wake up every day, fulfill their responsibilities, work, talk, smile, and seem perfectly fine. But when night falls and silence takes over, they find themselves once again facing what they try to hide all day long. It is at this moment that thoughts unknown to anyone else emerge. Unanswered questions. The accumulated weight of so many disappointments, so many losses, so many fears, and so many uncertainties. Perhaps you know this feeling well. Perhaps you've learned to hide what you feel because you believe no one would understand. Perhaps you kept everything to yourself because you didn't want to seem weak. Or perhaps you convinced yourself that your problems weren't important enough to share with anyone. But the truth is that carrying everything alone has a profound impact on the soul. The heart was created to endure challenges, but not to live imprisoned in permanent silence. And you know what's even more interesting? The Bible is full of stories of people who went through exactly that. We often imagine biblical characters as unshakable beings, almost immune to human emotions. But when we look closely, we see something completely different. We see men and women who felt fear, sadness, anxiety, loneliness, and even moments of profound emotional exhaustion. David, for example, wrote words that reveal a broken heart before God. Elijah reached a point where he felt completely alone on his journey. Jeremiah wept as he contemplated the pain around him. Even people chosen to fulfill great purposes went through moments when their emotions seemed stronger than themselves. This reveals something extraordinary. Feeling sadness doesn't mean a lack of faith. Feeling fear doesn't mean a lack of courage. Feeling tired doesn't mean spiritual failure. Often, these emotions are trying to communicate something important. They function as signals pointing to needs that must be understood, addressed, and surrendered to God. Perhaps your tears are trying to tell you that you've carried too many responsibilities for too long. Perhaps your anxiety is revealing an internal battle between what you can control and what you need to learn to entrust to God. Perhaps your loneliness is showing how much your heart longs for connection, acceptance, and guidance. And there's a scene that repeats itself in many people's lives. A scene that no one sees. You're alone in a room. The house is silent. The phone doesn't ring. The distractions disappear. And suddenly all the emotions that were pushed to the bottom during the day resurface. You try to be strong. You try to hold back the tears. You try to convince yourself that it will pass. But at that moment, it seems like no one knows what's happening inside you. But there's something you need to remember. God was there that night too. He was there when nobody called. He was there when nobody noticed. He was there when you asked questions and didn't get immediate answers. He was there when you cried silently, because pain was never invisible to him. And perhaps this is the most important truth you needed to hear today. Suffering is not proof of abandonment. The presence of pain does not mean the absence of God. Often, in moments when everything seems dark, He continues to work in ways we cannot yet see. There's a transformation happening behind the scenes. There's a journey of spiritual growth being built in places that human eyes cannot reach. Some of God's greatest revelations happen precisely during the times when we think we are weakest. Some of the life-changing decisions are born in moments of brokenness. And some of the greatest demonstrations of God's presence arise when we finally stop pretending we are okay and allow Him to find out exactly who we are with all our pain, doubts, and wounds. Perhaps you've come this far, believing you had to carry everything alone. Perhaps you thought no one could understand the weight within your heart. But something begins to change when we understand that God doesn't reject wounded hearts. On the contrary, He draws near to them. And if this message resonates with you, write in the comments, "God saw my tears." Because there is something even deeper that happens when we stop hiding our pain. And perhaps, after everything we've talked about today, the greatest truth that will remain in your heart is this: you were never as alone as you imagined. There were times when no one understood what you were feeling. There were days when it seemed like your tears were falling into the void. There were nights when the silence seemed louder than any answer. But God was there in each of those moments. He saw every tear. He heard every prayer. He knows every wound you are still trying to heal. If this message reached you at exactly the moment you needed to hear it, leave a comment below. Write, "God saw my tears." This simple phrase can serve as a reminder for you and others who are going through similar struggles and need to know they are not alone on this journey. If this content brought you clarity, comfort, or helped you see your emotions in a different way, please leave a like. This shows that this type of message resonates with you and helps the channel continue bringing words of hope, faith, and transformation to more people who are facing difficult times. And if you enjoy reflections like this, which combine Christian spirituality, biblical motivation, and profound truths about life and human emotions, consider subscribing to the channel. This way, you can continue your journey with us through content that strengthens faith, renews hope, and helps you better understand what God may be doing behind the scenes of your story. And don't stop here. There's a video over there that complements this topic and can further deepen the message you heard today. Click on it and continue with me there. I have a feeling that the next reflection might speak directly to a part of your heart that still needs to hear something important. Until the next video, and we begin to understand what God truly desires to do through her.